Welcome back, fabulous listeners. Here we are again today in my so-called fabulous. Okay. All right. You know I love makeup. You know I'm vain as can be. Okay. We just have that going for us here. But today I brought this woman back in. But let me tell you, we're diving into the glittery world of artistry. Beautiful makeup with personal makeup magician Kari Shuler. Get ready to go face and face of fun as we uncover secrets behind the brushes and explore how this TCU stage makeup class transformed this dazzling career into Kari. Kari Shuler, you may know her as Kari Does Makeup. You've been painting faces since 2008, and you've worked your grace and magic all over the DFW area, from celebrities to little old me. Welcome to the show again, Kari Shuler.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, you were doing a wedding in Mexico, and I was not going to text you. I think I saw you right before you left. You were doing a destination wedding, and then the minute I think you landed, I attacked you.
Yes. Yeah, I was ready for it.
Would you come on the show, please? And here she is again. Now, you may remember season 4. She was on episode 139. Go back on Spotify or Apple and check it out, because she is right there, and you know the nitty gritty behind this fabulous woman. I post about her often. She gives you the best information and on her social media feed at Kari Does Makeup. And I love her. I mean, I make no bones about it. And when you spend this much time with people, they know your heart, they know you, and they make you beautiful. So I am here to talk to you because you get it all the time. I get it all the time. Makeup questions.
Yeah.
And people do it wrong, don't we?
Yes and no. Yes. I mean, no. Yes, they do. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of old information out there. There's a lot of people who think they're experts and they're not.
Yeah.
But they're happy to give you advice. And so I'm happy to be here to shed a little bit of light on things that I know to be true and things that I know to not be true, and things that are just going to help you in general.
Absolutely.
Problem solving is one of my favorite parts of my job, is just helping people streamline their own makeup routine or just feeling better. I mean, that's all problem solving, when you just feel better physically. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and being a TCU grad and in the theater department, and then you took a class and it struck a passion.
Yeah. So I was actually a radio, TV, film major, which I'm so old that's not even a thing anymore. I believe now it's called film, TV, digital media. But back in the day, I was radio, TV, film. And I chose it because it sounded fun. I knew I was going to find like-minded people there. I knew I had always been interested in film and production. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. If anything, I just knew I'd enjoy it for all of the wonderful dollars that were being poured into my education. You know, I was like, this is something I'm going to like.
Right.
And so, I was a production emphasis major, which meant we were making student films. And I just always ended up being the girl with the gallon of fake blood, or, you know, ready to give somebody a black eye or a slit throat or whatever. And then I found out that there was a stage makeup class in the theater department through TCU, and they were all theater majors. I was the only non-theater major, and I was looking around and like nobody was having as much fun as I was. And that's really when something kind of clicked, where it was just like, you guys don't like this? You guys don't think this is like the best class ever? I'm like, okay, maybe there's something more to me enjoying makeup. Maybe there's something I could actually do with this, because I think it's really important to like what you do. Not a lot of people enjoy their job.
Yes.
And I can proudly say I wake up every day, even though every day is different, I wake up every day and say I still love my job.
Oh, absolutely do. And, you know, if more people had this thought process going to school, and, you know, and not, of course, listen to your parents. Of course, listen to your parents. Of course. But just follow your passion. Yeah. And I love that about you.
You can't live life being miserable. It's too short to just hate your job. Oh, my gosh.
Life is too short. Okay, so we're going to take this because since episode 139, I think you and I both you've been my makeup artist for years, and she is amazing, obviously. But we've kind of kept a tally, asked different questions on social media, and people just ask, especially when I see you, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? And I am not the expert. what I am going to do, this is my goal this year for myself and Kennedy to come in and do makeup lessons with you because you do that.
They're a game changer. They really are. And I frankly will tell people, even if you were the best at your makeup in high school, one, trends have changed. And I'm not a huge trend person, but brows have changed since you were in high school. Brows have changed since I were in high school.
Wow.
So we're doing different things since that. But even if you were the best, then gravity, age, time, your face looks different. Things just happen with age and time and gravity. So come see me at least every 10 years because your face is going to change. I mean, frankly, when you get like a plastic surgery, they're like, come see us back in 10 years for your, auto tune or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just because of gravity.
Exactly.
And so, come see me every 10 years because your face is going to change.
Yeah. It does. It has changed. Oh my gosh. And the texture and everything. But we'll get into that. But what I really want to hit on is if people ask me, do I follow along with the TikTok trends? And the answer is no. I don't have time to do that at all. I get my things myself on TikTok. But tell me about TikTok and is there validity to the women or men that are doing videos on TikTok?
Yes, there are some very good educators, people that have been in the business, people who do know what they're talking about, who have some great information. I wish I could remember the name of this woman, but she's a makeup artist, let's say her mid-50s. So she knows a lot about makeup for mature women. And she'll show you on one side of her face, here's how we used to do it. Here's how we should be doing it. I love that kind of information.
Wow.
I don't like a video where it's like, and here's what we do now. And they're just putting layers and layers and layers of things. And of course, all of those products are linked for you to buy.
Of course.
And they're not really telling you why they're doing it, what the ingredients are, what the method to the madness is. I'm an information person. So if I don't understand how something works, I'm not going to want to invest in it and try it on myself.
Right.
Because I know that person who is showing me whatever these products are on their face, that face is not my face.
Right.
Those eyes are not my eyes. That skin texture, skin type, skin tone, that's not you watching the video. That's just somebody,
right.
And so I do much prefer a video where they're showing you a right and a wrong, a quote, a right and a wrong.
Right.
I hate to say that there aren't, I don't like to say that there's wrong things to be doing in makeup because makeup is very personal. It should make you feel good. So even if you're doing something that is maybe frowned upon, but you like it, oh my gosh, do it. Mm-hmm. If it makes you feel good, just do it. But if somebody's showing you how to get more of like a lift in your cheek versus like this blush placement, here's how we did it a couple of years ago and it kind of pulled our face down. Here's how this blush placement kind of lifts us. Love that type of
wow.
TikTok content as far as that. And there's a mixed bag. There are a lot of people who are just trying to sell you stuff, and there are people who are trying to inform, and there's some people who do both. I go for more of the informative things because the modern day person who wears makeup will have a lot of makeup, and they may just not know what to do with it. So instead of just buying and buying and buying and just participating in this just consumer culture where things are literally going to expire, makeup expires, you should be figuring out how to use what you have to suit you, not to suit somebody's face that isn't yours on TikTok. Mm-hmm. If somebody's explaining to you, here's how to use this blush in a different way, that's a better investment than buying more blush because you could use a blush you already have just in a different way. Mm-hmm. And so that's the type of content creation I encourage people to follow instead of just, oh, I think she's pretty and she's fun to watch. Like, okay, well, if she's pretty, then her makeup's always going to look good.
Right. Absolutely.
And if she's 20 years younger than you, that's not your skin type. And so you got to really like kind of take a step back and be like, what am I watching? Am I watching someone who I just think is attractive, who I like how they do their makeup? Am I watching someone who has a similar eye shape to me, is in a similar age bracket to me, lives in the same part of the country as me, frankly? Like it just... In Texas, we do makeup differently, not just because of the South, but because it's so damn hot here.
Yes.
So there's different ways to do makeup that is appropriate for you. And not every TikTok video is like one size fits all. You really should consider who you're watching, why you're watching it, and what the takeaway is. If there even is one. If you just like her because she's pretty, okay, well, your face might not look like that, you know?
Chances are.
Chances are.
So the questions that we are talking about here are coming from you. And one of them, and you just hit on it, makes me crazy, but it expires.
Yes, makeup expires.
How do we know? Because, I just tried to throw something out and I couldn't find the date on it.
So every time something is in a box, the box will usually it'll be like a little picture of like a container. And the container will have kind of the lid coming off and it'll say like 6M. And that means once you've opened it, you have 6 months. So if it's not opened, it's okay because it hasn't been exposed to air.
Okay.
But if you've just been sitting on this product for years unopened,
woof.
But yeah, so once something is opened, it's been exposed to air, the clock starts ticking, right? Okay.
Really?
Creams, so cream blushes, cream highlighters, skincare, foundations, concealers, creamy, wet things will expire much more quickly than anything powder-based. And we touched on this a little bit last time, but if you think about it, bacteria loves like moist, damp, dark, that's a welcoming environment for bacteria. It's kind of like wet. A dry powder, like an eyeshadow palette, if it's just eyeshadows, that's really not a welcoming environment to bacteria. So if you're not like getting the eyeshadows wet, and if you're not sharing your eyeshadows, you really shouldn't never share makeup. But if you're not sharing it, then powder things are a much better investment because they are less likely to attract bacteria. So for me, especially because I have so much makeup, I really take thought into what new creams I invest in. I know I could pick up an eyeshadow palette and it's going to be good for a while. And so that's a fine investment as far as my girl math. It's going to last a long time. A cream highlighter palette, at best 6 months. Well, you're not going to go through the whole thing in 6 months.
Right.
And you probably already have some other creams that should go, in the trash before that.
Sure.
So really think of what you still have before you try new stuff, if it's a creamy, wet, or moist product, because that's going to have the shortest shelf life.
Okay. Y'all heard it here. Wow. I did purge some things here recently, but I didn't know, and I was going to ask you.
And you should always do, it's kind of gross. You should always do a smell test, make sure the consistency of something hasn't changed. If it's like a liquid highlighter, put it in your hand. If it's kind of separating or if it smells different, just toss it. If you're not sure when the date was and it's looking a little different than how it used to be, toss it. It's your health, Right. These are things going in, mucous membranes. Your skin's the largest organ in your body. Let's try and keep the things that we're putting on there.
Keep it clean.
Like, just some parameters of where we should draw the line.
Exactly. I know we hit on this at the last podcast, but mascara.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Mascara. Love, hate.
Yeah.
I'll have makeup what I think's perfect. If it's not with you, it's not. But I'll have my makeup and then I'll put on my mascara and it gets clumpy. And I try to get the safety pin out. I know you're
okay.
We're not saying do this.
Sure.
But can you save mascara?
So, mascara really, it's only good for about 3 months, unfortunately. And if you are not wearing mascara enough to where you're finishing that tube in 3 months, I'm going to tell you to switch to like sample sizes. Go to Sephora. They have little like value kits of like almost like tester sizes, because that way, if you're wearing mascara, once a week, I don't do math. Well, what's once a week for 3 months? That's not enough to use an entire tube of mascara.
Wow.
So you're going to end up throwing mascara away. That's still technically good, but it's not because it's expired. And once it's gone past that 3-month mark, it will start to dry out. That's when you're going to get flakes. That's when you're going to get smudges. It's just not going to have the same integrity that it did 3 months prior before it was exposed to all that air. So mascara has a very short shelf life. And so if you don't go through a whole tube of mascara within 3 months, try and find a smaller tube.
Oh, that's a great
to save yourself some money.
That sounds.
There's some people who don't wear makeup every day. They have mascara. Oh, I wear mascara maybe, a couple times a year. You should not be buying a full tube of mascara and using that the entire year. No.
No, mine doesn't last that long, but is that why I'm having, but it seems like I go through a lot, and I've made no bones about this, and I use the Trisha McAvoy. I guess I like the brush and the tubular. I really like it, but man, I feel like it just, it's the word does not go bad quickly. I guess you told me to tighten it,
turn a bit. Like I am the type of person who I like a bit of a, and there's a fine line. I like a bit of a drier mascara. So when it's like fresh, wet from the tube, you first open it, that's not when it's my favorite. I like it like a week later. So it's just a little bit of air's gotten in there. But if you think of, 2 months after that, when a lot of air's gotten in there, that's when it's literally drying out.
Right.
Sometimes when the mascara, in my opinion, if it's too wet of a mascara, you're not going to get big old fat lashes. And I like a big old fat lash, a nice voluminous lash.
Okay.
And so to have it just a little dry on the drier side, sometimes will get you more volume.
Okay.
But you don't want it dry.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Kari, that brings me to lashes, and we've talked about this, and you asked a question, everyone, about lashes, and I did too a few months ago, because Kari puts these lashes on me. I don't know if you can see right now on YouTube, you can, but they're just on the outer side, and they're just little wispies, and it's perfect for me. I just like it. So I asked Kari a couple of months ago, should I just go ahead and get fake eyelashes and
lash extensions?
Yeah, extensions. Yes. Your answer to me was
no.
Okay.
And the answers are multifold. One, there are some days where you don't wear makeup. There's some days where you're not, doing all of the things where you have to look glam. You just want to be Tiffany existing.
Yeah.
And those lash extensions, they're on you 24/7. And I am the type of person who Clarisonics really aren't a thing anymore, but I would Clarisonic my eyeball if I could. I get in the shower and I just want to deep clean my eyes. And when you have a lash extension, meaning like a piece of lash that is basically like bonded to each individual lash to, it's like a semi-permanent thing. It lasts about 2 weeks, and then you go in and you get them filled again, and they're very natural looking. They can be very natural looking. They can also be very not natural looking, but they're there all the time. So for somebody who doesn't need or want to look glam all the time, you don't need it. It's also a good amount of time investment, because I think the first application is going to be somewhere around an hour, if not closer to 2 hours, because they're literally doing every single lash a little attachment on all of those lashes. After you get that done, you need to brush them out. You can't submerge them. There's certain cleansers you can't use. There's oil-based things you can't use because that'll affect the adhesive of the lash. And it's a lot of work on your part to maintain these lashes, okay? So to just have a couple little clusters or a strip that you can literally take off and forget that they ever happened the next day is very different than a longer term commitment with these lash extensions. I will also say, this is a little controversial. Nothing on your body is designed to maintain, supporting. It's not designed to support weight long term. Okay. So your lash follicle and even your hair follicle, because we can also talk about this as like a hair extension. Your lash follicle is very delicate. And so for you to have something bonded to it with adhesive, and you're supposed to be taking very good care of it and not submerging your face and brushing it out and all of that. And even if you're doing all of those things, you might get a little bit of damage because that follicle is holding weight. It's not designed to hold on to, if that makes sense. So even if your lash person is amazing, doing all of the things that they're supposed to be doing, not kind of overloading your lashes, not over gluing your lashes, just doing things in moderation, appropriate amount of lash extension work. And if you're doing all the things you're supposed to do, which I will tell you, most people do not.
Right.
They do not brush out their lashes before they go to bed. They do not avoid the shower head in the shower. They don't not go swimming in the summer. These are all things that will affect how long the lashes last. Okay. So if your lash person's doing all the things they're supposed to do, you're doing all the things you're supposed to do, you're still going to have a little bit of damage because that follicle's not meant to just be holding weight all the time. Okay.
Right.
So the same thing, like even if you brush your hair extensions every day and your hair extension person is so careful and thoughtful and not doing too much, your hair will be a little worse for the wear when you take those extensions out because it's been holding weight for a long time and it's not supposed to, you know.
Right.
In the same vein of that, you know, we do little clusters on you,
Yeah.
essentially, which is like little pieces of what would be a strip lash. Okay.
Right.
So if you said to me, hey, Kari, I want you to come to my house every single day and do clusters on me, I would say, you know, Tiffany, I can do that. I'll do it. But that's glue at that base of your lash every single day.
Wow.
Well, in order for things to grow and thrive, we need oxygen. So you can't smother that lash follicle with glue 24/7 over and over and over again, even though we're not doing long-term weight. If you take your lashes off at the end of the night or the next day, you know, you're still, oh, they get that weight relief, but that glue is on that follicle every single day. That follicle needs air in order for that lash to come out to its full potential.
Wow.
So it's really people hate to hear this, everything in moderation. Right?
Yes,
I mean,
for sure.
everything in life should be in moderation.
Right.
Is wearing a strip lash or little cluster lashes going to hurt you? No. But if you wore them every single day for the rest of your life, your lashes underneath would not be in good shape.
They'd suffer.
And same thing with a lash extension. If you're not taking care of them, if they're not taking care of you, the people putting these lashes on, you're going to have some damage whenever they're not there anymore.
Right.
So it's just things to consider. Do you want to save I have a lot of nurse clients who all they do is lash extensions because they're like, I look awake, I look professional, that's all I need to do. And it's like, you know what? That's great.
Yeah.
If that's saving you time, that's amazing. But, you know, they come and say, yeah, when I take some time off, my lashes look terrible. I'm like, well, yeah, because
There you go. Yes.
they've been under some stress. Your lashes have been stressed.
Well, what about the magnetic lashes?
Okay. So let me put on my tinfoil hat. So I have a lot of clients who have asked me my opinion on magnetic lashes. And I want to stress my opinion on magnetic lashes because that technology is relatively new. This magnetic stuff around your eyes. Okay. So I had one client bring in her own magnetic lashes and asked if I could put them on. And I said, yeah, well, sure. Let's try it.
Let's go.
This is before I was married. This is like 9 years ago. And I was like, yeah, sure. I was fascinated. I had never seen anything like it. And it was basically like a little lash sandwich. So it had like a bottom part of a lash with a magnet and a top part of a lash with a magnet. And you kind of make it a sandwich around your lashes. Well, it required both of us to get that thing on. I mean, I was holding one, she was holding the other. And I was like, there is no way the modern anyone would do this at home. Okay. And so that's just, they didn't look great. And they were difficult to put on. So that's one option of these magnetic lashes where it's the lashes themselves have magnets and you're just kind of like sandwiching them on. There's this other thing. Okay. And this is what scares the piss out of me.
Yeah.
It's magnetic liner. It's like a liquid liner that has magnet in it. And then you can just pop this lash on and it's immediately drawn to it. And there's girls in these videos with their head out their sunroof and their lash is just holding on for dear life and they look great. And I'm just thinking, what testing have we done with magnets on a mucus membrane? I mean, I don't know about you, but I need my eyes. So
Kinda.
So I'm not gonna willingly put a magnet on my eyeball.
Oh my gosh.
But to each their own. You know,
of course. I'm good.
Try it. If you love it, that's fine.
Sure.
I am not an advocate of that because I don't think we've had enough time away from the advent of this to be like, what happens if you're doing that every day or every other day, or, like, it just magnets on your eyes, scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Follower wants to know about foundation. Do you have a favorite powder? Do you have a favorite cream? I also know and love that if I'm not sure you knew, but Kari does airbrush makeup and it is phenomenal. It stays on. It stays on. About the people at home, cream, powder, what do you think?
I wish I could just give you
Yep.
an answer. It depends on your skin texture, which may or may not coincide with your age, because you could have a lot of skin texture from, acne, and be very young, or you could have a lot of skin texture just from aging and being old. If your skin's very dry versus if your skin's very oily, all of these things are literally different reasons for different types of foundations.
Right.
They just are. I like to recommend, I don't love buying makeup online unless there is someone kind of holding your hand. I do work for a company called Lime Life by Alcone. They sell a beautiful wax-based foundation. I can foundation match people, but I'll have them send me a picture of themselves with no makeup on, facing a window in natural daylight, so I can see, their skin, and I'll kind of help them match that way. When it's just like upload a picture of yourself and we'll pick out a foundation, scares the crap out of me.
Okay.
There's if you're doing that, have a picture of you with no makeup. Please stand in front of a window with some natural light, and your results are going to be better than not. But if you're at a Sephora, or if you're at the mall, I did this. I used to work at the mall. I would have people come in and say, "Hey, can you match my foundation?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then they'd be like, "Okay, yeah, I think I like it." And they'd be ready to pay. And I'd be like, "Listen, do you have other things to do today?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course." I'm like, "Okay, go do those things. Come back. You don't even have to come back to me, but wear this foundation, walk around with it, go home. Look at your lighting in your bathroom, your car lighting, your work lighting, different parts of the mall. Not everyone is going to be in the lighting of the Mac counter for the rest of their life, So if there is a human matching you, please don't feel pressured to buy it that day, even if they've got a great return policy.
Right.
Because it might look good that minute. It could oxidize, which means that the pH, like the chemistry of your skin and that foundation, basically aren't jiving. And so you could turn kind of orangey, even when it went on looking beautifully, but you've noticed you've gotten kind of darker as the day's gone on. Imagine if you had already bought that foundation, don't ever feel pressured into buying something just because they put it on you. Wear it. See yourself in different lighting. That's what I recommend, is seeing a human. And yes, that human is there to sell you something.
Sure.
But don't feel bad wanting to look at it in places that aren't Sephora, which has terrible lighting, or a counter at the mall, which also has terrible lighting.
Right.
You should like it. You're spending money. It's your face. It's very personal. Don't let them say, "Oh, you look so great. Let's get you rung up." Nah.
No. Got it.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot about sanitation, and I was out of the country and needed to see a makeup artist, and the brushes were dirty, and actually a lady licked, a pencil. I know. Thought I told you that.
No, you didn't.
No, and you were one of the cleanest. I mean, your sanitation is crazy, fabulous. Tell me about sanitation. And you talked about earlier that you should not, use someone else's makeup, mascara. I mean, eye makeup, mascara. But also I see it on Instagram all the time. The makeup brushes, which is so enticing for me to order one of those very affordable makeup brush cleaners. I mean, like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Limelight cleaner.
Yes.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But, she has so many makeup brushes, y'all. You would not believe her
I go
studio.
through about 10 a face.
Yeah.
So imagine
That's
a
a lot.
nine client day.
So
That's a lot.
that's a lot. So what, would you ever buy one of these? Okay, there's two questions: sanitation and then the makeup brush machines.
So yeah, sanitation is everything. Oh my gosh, I would have vomited in my lap had I seen someone lick a pencil. Yeah. So and frankly, a lot of people don't know this. So I'm very happy that you asked. If an artist approaches you, we did talk about a little bit about this last time, but if an artist approaches you and is putting mascara on your eyes and that wand is connected to the applicator of the tube, no. Because that applicator is going back in that tube. That means that entire tube is compromised with your eye germs. Whose other eye germs are in that tube? I doubt you were the first person they did that to. Gosh. Unless they are giving you that mascara tube, which, a lot of times with celebrity clients, like say I was doing Chappell Roan's makeup. I would hate to put a disposable wand on that woman. I'd get a fresh tube of mascara. I'd use the beautiful wand and then I'd be like, here's mascara for you to have later,
Sure.
That's different than having one tube of mascara and using it on all the same bridesmaids with no disposable applicator. Same thing with brushes. If one brush is going from your face to a different bridesmaid or somebody in your party, that's their face oils. That's their face oils that are now on your face. Mm-hmm. If somebody's using a beauty blender on your face and then someone else's face, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think of, and this is extreme, but think of like the dentist using something from the last person. I mean, that's how you get sick.
Right.
It's just there. I know it's makeup and makeup's fun. And I don't even like to take myself very seriously. I think makeup should be fun.
Right.
But there are lots of ways that you can get sick with makeup not being treated professionally enough or seriously enough. Man. So yes, only clean brushes approaching your face, only clean beauty blenders approaching your face, only disposable wands approaching your face. If it is something like an eyeliner pencil, a lip liner pencil, they should have 70% alcohol. Should be marked 70% alcohol, because if it's like 90 or 99, that's actually not killing the germs it's supposed to kill. The higher the alcohol percentage does not mean it working harder. It actually means it's absorbing evaporating quicker than it can do the job of the things it's supposed to be killing.
Sure.
So, every time I sharpen the lip liner that we both love for you, I sharpen it and then I spray it down with alcohol.
Sure.
Twist it into paper towel and then I approach you with it. It's not just, let me just sharpen it, because that's the sharpener is full of a ton of germs.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the makeup brush cleaner, the thingy
makeup brush cleaner, in theory,
automatic one.
Yes, like a machine that basically agitates the hell out of things.
Sure.
In theory, it looks like, oh my gosh, this would save me so much time. I've literally had clients be like, I know you hate washing brushes. Have you seen this? Thinking they're like, doing me a solid.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, honey. And I just want to say, no. First of all, because that machine doesn't care about your brushes. It's just a machine. And so it will be, basically, it's just agitating the life out of them, just shaking them.
Right.
And that in turn is getting a lot of water and or sudsy things all up in areas of the brushes where water is not meant to go. There's a certain part of the brush called the ferrule, and it's usually where there's like a little bit of a crimp. So your brush will have where the brushes come out, and then there's almost like a little crimp where the brushes are held together, and then it goes into like the handle of the brush. You should never be submerging like to that crimp, because the crimp is where all of the adhesive is that's holding that brush together. So if you imagine a brush that's not only having the crap beat out of it, but water's being pushed up into the area where it's not supposed to be, it's literally wetting all of the adhesive, keeping things in place. So your bristles are just going to fall out.
Right.
But if before that happens, it's just going to shorten the lifespan of your brush.
And they're expensive.
And I am an advocate of, don't buy cheap brushes. If you want to buy cheap brushes, you can then buy your brush washing machine and then throw them away. That's fine. But I mean, a good makeup brush, if you're, hand washing it and taking care of it, it will last you decades.
Wow.
Decades, plural.
Gosh. Okay. So we have a follower that's asking about age appropriate makeup.
Yeah.
And do we need a primer? Does every age need a primer? Ooh.
So, again, controversial. We talked a little bit about this last time. Some primers are good. I love an eyeshadow primer. Every single client who walks through my door gets an eyeshadow primer.
Love it.
Every time I do a lesson, I look to see, okay, something I'm missing, something you don't have. A lot of women, they just don't have an eyeshadow primer. And then they complain, or my eyeshadow isn't showing up, or I get creases, or my makeup just doesn't stay on. And that's because your eyes produce oil, and they're their own kind of zone. So when people are like, oh, I just put a little concealer on my eyelid, and that works as an eyeshadow primer. I'm like, well, concealer's not designed for your eyelid. Yeah, it'll sort of work, but it's not designed to help your eyeshadow stay longer,
Sure.
come out truer, blend better. You're using a different product.
Right.
And so eyeshadow primers, yes. A lip primer, love a lip primer.
Right.
But a face primer is not always necessary. It's typically it's used to kind of get you when you're trying to buy makeup. If you're in a store and you want to buy a foundation, they're going to be like, well, let me show you this primer. Or if you just walk in and say, I don't like my current foundation. Oh, well, are you using what primer are you using?
Yes.
And the primer is not your be all end all, will fix any poorly made foundation thing. That's not what a primer should do. A lot of primers have a lot of silicones, dimethicones. They make things go on silky smooth, but it's not going to make your foundation work better if it's not the foundation for you. So maybe you have found a primer that helps control oil. I love that for you. Maybe you found a primer that helps cancel out redness. I love that for you. If you're just using a primer because someone told you it makes your foundation work better,
it's not true.
You got.
Okay.
I mean, you should be, the things that type of primer does is stuff that your just regular skincare is already doing.
Okay.
So as long as you are moisturizing, using your serums, and just generally taking care of your skin. If your skin is not dry, flaking off, foundation should go on just fine for you.
Okay.
Skincare is more important than purchasing a primer to make your foundation work. It's really kind of it's a messy cycle they try to get you in. If you have a bottle of this foundation, you need a primer. You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
Okay. Question about sunscreen in makeup.
Okay.
So I wash my face, do all the things, and put on a sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the makeups I use has sunscreen in it. One of the foundation. Or it's tinted moisturizer. There we go. Thoughts on all that?
Well, I'm happy to hear that you're doing both. You're using a sunscreen.
There it is.
And a makeup sunscreen.
Necessary.
Because yes, makeup that has sunscreen in it, yes, there's sunscreen. Is it enough? No, never. It's never enough, especially if you're in Texas. It's not going to be an SPF 20 in your sheer tint moisturizing BB cream is not like putting on an SPF 20 on your face. Well, and everything should be, I like to just start with 50, gosh, we're in Texas, it should be 50.
For sure.
And frankly, none of the stuff that's in makeup is going to be that high.
Right.
It's going to be a 15 or a 20 or maybe a 30.
Even though it says it. Yeah. Okay.
You would have to be putting on layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of those things to get the actual results of a proper, just straight up SPF.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would never poo-poo a makeup with sunscreen. You need a sunscreen too.
Okay.
You should always be using a sunscreen.
Always using a sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question about eyeliner and lip liner. And I say this because actually I love this question because many years ago, let's go back 7 years probably, a woman told my daughter, which was getting her makeup done at the same time, your mother doesn't need a lip liner because she's a little old for that. Is that true?
When people say the word lip liner, a lot of women would have a little bit of maybe PTSD from a time when they had too dark of a lip liner or accidentally went outside their lip line and just hated it, you know? But I love a lip liner if you can't see it. People think lip liner means it needs to be visible, but I put a lip liner on pretty much anyone who sits in my chair. And I will use it for shaping, getting, you know, your Cupid's bow nice and full, getting the symmetry of your lips. Our faces really aren't very similar. And so just to get an evenness in shape, lip liner's great for. But then I'll fill it in. I fill in. And then maybe even put a little something else on top, a gloss, a lipstick, or a whole other lip color. But liner it's wonderful because it's basically just something else that holds on to color, you know? And it's really hard to kind of get a nice shapely upper lip or shapely lower lip with just lipstick alone. So if you're not using lip liner for like a contrast, you kind of can't go wrong. If you're using it and it's almost your lip color, oh my gosh, use it forever, go to town. Doesn't matter day or night. I mean, if it looks like your lip color, that's a good kind of makeup best friend to have because it's going to help everything stick on. But, you know, some people, when they think lip liner, they think a contrast. They think a darker edge and then a lighter inside. And that was a very niche kind of point in time. And we're not doing that anymore.
Not doing that anymore.
But it doesn't really read to a certain age if you are too old or too young. I just think we're not I don't think anyone should really be having visible lip liner. Unless you want almost like an ombre kind of look to where it is a little darker on the outside, but not like a dark brown into a pink. You know, like we want it to look just maybe our lips are fuller. You can do slightly darker, but not like big old contrast because that would age you or kind of take you back a couple decades.
Don't want that. Now, what about eyeliner? Under eye?
It's a very personal preference. And it also depends on the application method and what we're actually using. So on you, we always do black above because when we're doing little clusters, we want them to look as natural as possible. So black liner with a black lash reads the most natural. Underneath, I do a very soft, almost like a gray brown on you because black underneath would be way too severe. We don't need the whole eye kind of rimmed severely like that. We just want some definition. We want your bottom lashes to show up and we want your eye to look nice and shapely, but it doesn't need to be as thick, as dark. It's almost, the color I use in it almost has a bit of like a shimmer to it. Like it's like a satin kind of formula. So it just looks like there's just a little bit of like a shadow along the lash line versus like a hard, severe pencil. It also depends, are we lining, you know, in here in this white of the eye? Are we lining at the lash? All of these things, color, placement, thickness will contribute to how severe or not severe you look. I will say, because people sit in my chair and they're like, I've heard you shouldn't do top and bottom liner. I'm like, well, okay, well, not with that attitude, you know. But, I mean, you don't, do you like top and bottom liner? If you do, oh my gosh, do it. Will it make your eyes look the biggest ever? Probably not. Probably not. I would say if you like it all the way across up top, do 2/3 underneath. Do a black up top and a brown underneath. Do a black up top and a gray underneath. Do a black up top and a purple. You know, have some fun. But if you are just rimming your eyes in black or brown or just something severe or thick, it will close in those eyes. It'll make them just look a little bit smaller. And frankly, no one has ever, in 17 years of people paying me, no one's ever sat in my chair and said, I want my eyes to look smaller. Never.
There it is.
So, I mean, if you have issues with kind of hooded eye-ness, there are ways to line more of like the outside kind of portion and not go all the way across the top. There are ways to open up the eye and actually make the eye look bigger and prettier using eyeliner. It's just in your technique and in your color choices. So there's no, I hate this. Oh, I'm of a certain age. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like to the woman who wrote in mature makeup, I'm sure someone has once told her that she can't have, I don't want to say sparkle, but like, you know.
Yes.
And that's not true at all.
No,
You shouldn't be walking around 70 years old with glitter unless it makes you feel amazing.
Right.
But I mean, age appropriate is, there should be a little movement on the skin. If we were to just do all mattes on someone of a certain age, who frankly, as we age, our skin gets drier, okay? So a matte shadow, a matte powder, a matte anything, foundation, has no movement to it. It looks very flat and dry. So to say, oh, well, because she's, you know, quote unquote old, we can't have sparkle or shimmer or anything on her. That woman is going to look 1,000 years older because we have put no life into her face.
Correct.
Life is movement. Right. It's, you know, skin looking like skin. It's skin that has, you know, when the sun hits your face, there should be a little bit of almost dewiness at your cheekbone. And just, you know, just because you've been told, oh, this highlighter has a little bit of sparkle in it and I'm over this age, I can't do it. That's not the best beauty advice for you. You need a little bit of movement. There aren't a lot of rules to makeup. Really aren't. But I want people to do what makes them feel like them, feel good. Because even if I love it, that's not my job. My job is not to love what I'm doing on you. My job is for you to love what I'm doing on you. And so if I'm doing all of the rules of the things you're supposed to do, but you hate it and you look older, I have not done my job.
Right.
It should be collaborative. You tell me what you like. What do you do every day? What makes you feel like you? What have you never done before? Is there anything you've wanted to try? You've been afraid to try? It's not just, well, you're this age, here's what we're doing. It should never be that cut and dry with makeup.
Well, there's not a day that I walk out of your studio not loving what you've done, for sure.
I just love spending time with you. My gosh.
And she's a therapist too, of course. My gosh, you have to double charge me for the therapy. You have been a delight. We did not get to all the questions, but I'm going to have you come back.
Okay.
Let's talk about holiday makeup in the fall.
Yes, I would love that.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, and makeup for, like for a Christmas card.
Yes.
Holiday photo makeup.
Let's do photography because people are not, you know, people that, like you were telling me this morning, they pay for a photographer but don't have their makeup done. Yeah. It's different.
And how many times have you seen, you've done your makeup, you thought you looked good, you see a picture of yourself later and you're like, did I look like that all day?
I do that every time I come in the studio. That's why I come see her before I come in the studio. If you're on YouTube, you can see exactly what she does. Thank you so much for coming.
Having me. This was a delight.
Oh gosh, just spending time with you and then, you know, giving me part of your day. I appreciate it. How can we find you?
I am on Instagram. Kari Does Makeup, Kari. I have a TikTok. I don't really know how to use it. I'm not very social media savvy, but I do, when I get in the rhythm of putting out content, I usually, it'll be a good wave until I'm tired of it again, you know. But I will at least post something motivational or just share somebody else's story. I like to do that instead of coming up with my own stuff. But yes, I'm on Instagram. And I've got a website, karidoesmakeup.com as well.
And she's hysterical, if you haven't figured that out. So, thank you all. I hope this has been helpful. It's so good hearing from you and you sending these questions because we love it. And, you know, I'm here to help you solve problems with my guests for sure. And, you know, I say this every single Tuesday. Keep being fabulous.